Hello YouTube, it is EverythingEpan here, and in this video we're doing a video tutorial on how to install Windows Me in VMware. Now this is a updated tutorial here. I have done one previously, but that was long ago here, so figured I'd do a updated tutorial for the VMware installation of this. And I believe this is the first time I've ever done a updated tutorial for VMware for any operating system that I've already done a tutorial for. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get straight into it here then. There'll be links in the description here. First, for VMware, you can scroll down to the bottom and download either Workstation Pro or Workstation Player. And then also the Windows Me ISO from WinWorld will be in the description as well, the link for that. And then also the boot disk that you'll need for the installation. So we'll go ahead and get into VMware now. Once you have all those downloaded, and if you do not have VMware, to download that as well. And then we're going to go ahead and create a new virtual machine, and we're going to do the typical setup, doing it from the installer disk, and then we'll browse for the ISO and just find where your ISO is saved. Should be the OEM one, and it should automatically detect Windows Me as the operating system for this. So go ahead and hit next, and then it'll have you pick a name for the virtual machine. So I'm just going to leave it at Windows Me, and then click next. And then it's going to ask us how much we want to dedicate hard drive wise to the machine. I'm going to leave it at the default of 8 gigs. You can increase it if you want. So I'll go ahead and we'll store it as a single file as well, and we'll hit next. And then we'll have us do a little bit of hardware customization if we want, but we should be good there for the most part. I think the only thing we'll need to make sure to add is a floppy controller. So go to add on the hardware here, go to floppy drive and hit finish. And that should add that floppy there. We're going to use a floppy image file, and we'll browse for that. You see it should be called Windows Me Startup Disk, or Setup Disk, excuse me. And then go ahead and hit close, and then hit finish, and it should power on the machine. So it has gone ahead and powered on the machine, and when this menu comes up, you click inside the machine, go down to boot from CD-ROM, and then we're going to start Windows setup from CD-ROM. So it'll load through the operating system setup here. It'll come up to the Welcome to Windows Me setup screen here. And then once it's on that, just hit enter to continue. And then we're going to configure on an unallocated disk space, so hit enter again. And then since it's over 512 megabytes in size for the hard drive, go ahead and do yes to enable large disk support and hit enter. Enter one more time and it will reboot here. And then on this one, we'll need to go ahead, once the startup menu comes up, do boot from the disk again, or CD-ROM, and then hit enter to start the setup from the CD-ROM. And it'll load it up again. It's going to format drive. And then just hit enter to continue. It'll run a disk check. And it's going to come up to the Windows Me setup wizard here. So once that comes up, just hit next. On the directory, just leave it at C Windows, hit next. It'll check for the installed components and disk space. For this, we should be good to leave it at typical and hit next. We're going to do the install of the most common components, hit next. It's going to ask to pick a computer name. I'm just going to call it Windows Me. Leave the work group at work group, hit next. Choose your country or region and hit next. And then now it's going to have us pick the time zone. So we'll do Central Time, that's where I'm at, but pick your time zone wherever you wish. Hit next, and then hit finish to begin copying files. And then it will go ahead and copy the files from the disk here. And then eventually should kind of continue through the setup. So let it run through here and do its thing. It'll continue the file copy progress here on the bottom and the percentage. So just keep watch of that. So I'll let that run through, and I'll come back to you guys once it's getting close to being done, or we're hitting that restart point. All right, so once it's done loading through here, it'll have us up on a restart prompt here. So we'll go ahead and just go ahead and restart now. And then on this one, when the startup menu comes up, we'll need a boot from the hard disk, and it will continue the setup from there. And then it will set up some hardware there. and keep going through that. And then it'll just kind of go through all this setting up of hardware, and then eventually it should take us to another restart point there. So just kind of let it sit and do its thing here. It'll continue to load through that, and then it'll continue some more of the non-plug and play there. And this part will take a little bit of time, so just kind of let it run through. I'll let it run through here, and I'll come back once it's about finished or ready to reboot. Okay, so it's finishing up with this progress here. It'll load through this a little more, and it'll have us enter in a name and organization. So I'll just enter a name here and hit next, and then it'll have us accept the license agreement here and hit next, and then it will have us enter in the product key here. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get that entered in here on the prompt. If you cannot see it or want to follow there, you can pause the video here and grab this key, or certainly can look it up online. The keys are all over the place there too. So hit next once we're done entering the key, and then hit finish, and it will go through the finishing parts of the setup here after going through those prompts. So it'll have us reboot, so just hit restart now, and we'll boot from the hard disk again. And then it's going to go forth with setting up more hardware, plug and play devices, all those. And then we'll get to our final prompt, setup prompt here. So it's gone through all those other items, and then now is on the system configuration. So it will run through this part of the setup. And then once it's done with that, it will have us reboot again. So again, another part of the setup we'll just have to sit through a little bit here on that. Should go relatively quick for the most part. So just let it sit through this, and then it should have a prompt to reboot. So I'll let that do its thing and come back to you guys up on the reboot here. Okay, and we're ready to reboot here. So we'll hit restart now. I'll restart the machine, and we'll do boot from hard disk. And then we'll go ahead and load up onto the logon page, or the logon prompt. And here it is. So we can just type in any name or anything there and hit OK. It'll update system settings, and then should bring us to the desktop. And now there is audio, looks like it shows up down here, and it does not seem to play through here, but it at least is kind of prompting that it's there. So that is interesting that it is there, but not playing through. But once we have the operating system installed here, what we're actually going to do is just make sure to install VMware tools. And we can also disconnect the floppy drive since that is all finished. So we've prompted for VMware tools installation, so the menu should come up automatically, and then hit next. We're going to do the complete install of it as well. So hit next on that and install. And then we'll go ahead and install the various drivers that it comes with and adds on to the operating system here. And then once that's done, just hit finish, and it'll have us reboot. The machine will reboot after the install. And you can see we have the blue background now, so we do have 256 colors enabled on here. And there we are. It does have it so that it will prompt up with 256 colors. You can see if we go in here, you can see 256 colors. You can expand the resolution here. I won't do it too much. I think it will have us reset as it is anyways, but yeah, there it is. And you can fit the guest here, so it'll fit the window perfectly in here, and everything is installed there. As for audio, that is still seeming to be a little bit of an issue, but that may be just something a little bit to kind of mess around with there since it's showing it is there, but is not playing those back. So, but mainly for that, that is the tutorial here, and that is how to get Windows Me installed in VMware. So figured again, just wanted to give you guys an updated video for this. And I think this process is a little easier than my original video that I made for this. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, certainly can leave a like down below. If you did enjoy the video or if it did help you out. If you do have any ideas for any future videos, you can certainly comment down below as well. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, you can certainly hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever I upload and to be up to date on my content. So once again, thank you guys for watching the tutorial on how to install Windows Me in VMware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.